Hello and welcome to this Kennel Connection training video. This video is going to go over live access, client portal, online reservations, and the SMS texting feature. So live access is a feature that you use together with your desktop Kennel Connection that allows you to be mobile. That means you're able to go into your laptop or your phone or your tablet from anywhere that you want to be. You're able to see your list of appointments, check pets in and out, print all of your reports, add grooming notes, and so forth. It's a great tool to be mobile. It saves on printing out reports because you can pull that up right on your phone or your tablet. So this is an example when you first log into Live Access. This is your dashboard. And this lists all of the appointments that you have for the day. So it's for boarding, grooming, and daycare. And we can scroll down and see everybody that we have coming in. It's separated into 3 different tabs. These are the pets that we're waiting on that have not checked in yet, but they're due to come today. Then we have a tab for checked in, and of course a tab for checked out. If you notice, we have these little icons here that you can hold your mouse over and see information. This is a great shortcut, so you don't have to open an appointment or go into the pet or client card to see any of these notes. You can just hold your mouse over these little icons to see the information. These blue, the globes, are for online reservations, and we'll go over that in a little bit. Over here on the right are these 3 little dots. This is your right-click menu. So this is how you can check them in and out. You can go to the pet or the client card through here, print your kennel card, and so forth. So what's different from your desktop case is basically how these screens look, specifically for the appointments and the pets and clients. This is an example of our boarding appointment. So all of the important information is at the top. The contact info from the client and their phone number, the vet information, if this pet had any vaccine status. If you scroll down, there's also the warnings that show up. And it also lets you know the services that they're supposed to get today, the food or the medication and so forth. And then it's just scrolling down. It's everything that you normally do on your desktop Kennel Connection. You choose the dates. Of course, over here we have the option to choose the runs. Down a little bit further, you're able to update vaccinations through the screen. Of course, departure services are pretty popular, so you're able to do that through here too. Add grooming instructions. At the bottom would be if you need to add a feeding or a medication and so forth. The other difference that you're not familiar with, but everything's still there, is what the pet and the client card looks like. So this is an example of the pet card. What's nice about this is you can easily click on the owner name to switch to their card without having to look them up and find them. Again, all the important stuff is at the top, all your warnings. If you ever need to edit a pet, maybe change the breed or the color or so forth, you just click your edit button and you can scroll down and find all that information. Of course, vaccinations can be updated through here. The boarding, grooming, and daycare tabs is where the default information, if you have to do a default price or add some kind of warning on there and so forth. Then we have all the appointments, and you're able to open it through here like you do now. Now, what's a cool feature on the Live Access is that we also have a sort option. So this lists everybody for the day, but maybe you only want to know who's supposed to get a bath for today. So that's something that you could type in, and then it will only list those pets who are scheduled for a bath. Maybe you're looking for a specific client. So you can type in the last name, and it will bring up that last name. So we have a few Geralds in here, it looks like. So definitely an option. Maybe you only care about what your grooming is for the day. So you can click the grooming and show just that module. Now this is a new screen. People really love it because everything is together, so you don't have to search for stuff. However, on the left here, each module has its own schedule, and this is more familiar because this is what your desktop looks like. So some people really like this option. On this screen, those 3 little dots are on the left this time. That's, of course, you check them in or print the kennel card and so forth. Also under each module we have the reports, so you can print all the reports in here. Your boarding log, or if you need to print the feeding schedule for today and so forth, is all under here. Of course, the boarding also has its run glance, so you can go in and see who's scheduled for what runs for the day and so on. We have a new feature in here for grooming. It's so that you can assign colors to your groomers. Nope, I gotta go back a day. So you can assign colors so that you can easily see on the schedule maybe what color breed you have most of, or if you have an opening. So what I mean by that, up on the screen we would click this little gear and you can go to breeds and you can assign colors to the breed. So there's a couple ways to use this. One, of course, is you could just assign a color to each breed as you need to. But maybe you, whenever you're thinking in terms of grooming or baths, you group them together by maybe small, medium, and large. So you could have several breeds that are considered small, several considered large, and maybe just use a few colors. You could also maybe do it by hours. So maybe red means it takes 1 hour, blue means it takes 2 hours, green is 3 hours, and so forth. And then for the employees, it's the same thing. You basically assign a color to them, and it's just so you can visually see them on the schedule. So once you have all your colors set up, on this schedule you would click on the breed and the color at the top right here, and that's what makes the colors show up. So for example, this employee is in yellow, so I can easily see by the schedule how many yellows I have scheduled for that person. Of course, the highlight on the outside, that's the breed color. So I have this one red here. Maybe red means it's going to take me 2 hours. This color is also applied to the schedule. So you can come here and also turn on the colors here. And it will display here too. So it's a great kind of shortcut method of knowing what's going on for the day. So Daycare has its own schedule with its own reports. And then down here is where the rest of the reports are. So if you need to go into list and print a customer list or your other services for the day, your revenue reports are in here, all your closeout report and so forth. This manage option down here, this is how you decide what does your employee have access to. And of course this is really important for revenue reports and things of that nature. Now these employees have to be in your desktop KC first. So they have to be entered there first. The way that the access rights work is there's 2 steps to it. One is in your desktop KC under your employee setup. What we're talking about is on this tab for access rights. What do you let them do in there? So for example, I have this employee Bob. I let him make boarding appointments and print boarding reports. I don't let him access revenue. I don't let him add or modify pets or clients. So this is an example of once you add these employees to live access, this part comes over with it. So you don't have to do this separately. The other part of the access for live access is what level are they set to. So we have 4 different levels of employees. We have one called restricted groomer. That's if you have an employee who's only a groomer, you only want them to be able to see their list of pets and clients, their appointments and clients, then that's something that you could set up. They would not be able to log into here and see another employee's schedule. They can't see your client list and so on. Then a regular employee is just basically whatever they do in your desktop KC, that's what they would do in here. The other 2 levels have to involve the online reservation system. So if you decide to turn that on, the employee has to be at least a front desk employee to be able to approve or deny appointments. And then the manager is able to go in and change your OLR settings. So you have 4 different levels here. You can also restrict when are they able to use live access. So for example, if you only want your employees to use live access while they're working during their shift, that's something that you could turn on. You can also have one setting for manager and one for employee. So maybe your manager needs to access this 24 hours a day. That's something you could do. But your employee, you only want them to use it 8 to 5 or whenever you guys are open. And you can decide what days of the week this is available to. The IP address is so that they're restricted to use this only at your store or only at some office that you need to use it. So they're not able to be anywhere. Of course, this is optional. You don't have to turn this on. And the IP whitelist is set up per employee. So the manager and the owner, of course, doesn't need this most likely, but maybe an employee, you have to do it. So this is an option. Down here on the Client Explorer, or the menu on the left, we also have these shortcuts. So you can click it to add a new client, the new appointments, and so forth. Up at the top, this is your Client Explorer. So you're able to type in a name and see the client. And you can also make appointments through here. You click off the pets that you want and you can make the appointments. And this is basically the live access, the part for the employees to use. It's not too drastically different from Kennel Connection Desktop. The screens look a little bit different, but all of this stuff you can be mobile with it. So if you have a front office employee who checks pets in, they can be walking around the lobby, opening appointments and verifying feeding instructions, things of that nature. You could have your kennel staff out in the yard with the dogs. They can open the appointment and maybe add a note if somebody got sick or whatnot. Your groomer can be at their station grooming a pet. Instead of having to run to the computer, they can come onto their tablet or their phone and add grooming notes and update pricing on the appointment, things of that nature. The second part of this feature, Live Access, comes with a feature called Client Portal. And of course, this is for your clients. They're able to go online and create online accounts. So this is my Client Portal. The page that you see here, this is designed by you. So whatever artwork you want to upload, of course your business logo is very important. That message that you see, all of that stuff is customized. I have a link here. So for example, maybe you have a contract they have to fill out or some kind of paperwork you need them to see and send back to you. You can put that on your website and then include a link here so they just click on it and then they can upload it to you right through their portal. Now there's two ways to use the Client Portal. One is online reservations. That's for boarding, daycare, and grooming. Most of that is customizable, meaning you can put your own hours and days that you're open, what kind of services can they sign up for, and things of that nature. If you're nervous about online reservation though, the second part of how to use this is basically to let them log in and keep up with their appointments, their vaccine status, and send you documents. And what's great about that is all hands off for your staff, so people don't have to give you a call to ask about when am I supposed to come in, or do you have my updated vaccines. They can see all that information through here. So this is an example for my client, the portal. So I log in here. And then this first tab I see is all the appointment information. So I scroll down, I can see all these appointments. We have color coding, so it's very obvious for the client. So for example, this yellow appointment for Gambler, he's on the wait list. So they know that's not a confirmed appointment yet. They need to let me or call to make sure you have room for the pet before he comes in. Then we have this green for confirmed. That means that's a appointment live that's on your schedule. They're ready to come in. And this red for pending, this means that the appointment has been submitted, but it's not been approved yet. So they know somebody there still has to approve it before they can come in. Your client can also click on the appointment and see the details of what they signed up for. And you can let them cancel through here too. This little X at the bottom right is where they can cancel an appointment. And that's something that you can turn on or off depending on what you need to do. This is an automatic feature, so once they click yes, the system will cancel that appointment for you. There's nothing you have to do. You can also set up a notification that will let you know that somebody just canceled an appointment. We'll look at that here soon. And then finally, if you have confirmation emails turned on, it will automatically send a cancellation email if they cancel through here. So the second tab that they see when they log in here is called My Pets. And this is going to list all the pets that this person has on their account. It does show any photos that you guys have on your side. You can also allow clients to upload a picture through here. If they do, that will show in desktop casing and live access on your side. And of course it shows the vaccination status, which is really important. So they can go in and say, oh, I have Muppet here. You have my updated vaccination records, but it looks like Mr. Mutant you don't have. So it's just something nice that they can see that they don't have to call you about. And then if they want to, they can upload a vaccination record to you. Now the Documents tab, something to note about this is if you attach a document in Kennel Connection, the clients will see that when they log into Client Portal. I just mention it in case you may have something private attached that you don't want them to see. Mostly people attach vaccination records or contracts or things of that nature, so it's not really anything you need to keep private. But if you're worried about it, you would turn off this Documents tab so they can't see it, but they can still upload the document when making an appointment. That's something you'd like to do. And then the last tab just shows you what information do they see when they log in. All they see is their contact info. So as long as you don't have any kind of warning in there, any kind of note, you don't have to worry about them seeing any notes or warnings that you may have on file for that pet. So this is the other way to use it. If you don't want to use the online reservation system, this is a great way to allow your clients to take care of some of the workload for you, meaning they don't have to call about when am I scheduled, do you have my vaccinations and things of that nature. If they need to add a new pet, that's something that they can do through here too. So this information that you see, this is all required. So they would type in what kind of pet it is, they have to choose a breed, color, black and tan I guess. The birth date, of course, they have to choose something. And a weight. So any kind of notes. This is going to show up on the notes field of the pet card. And then we have some additional stuff they can sign up for. So they can choose a vet too, which will load the phone number. Now this vet, they're not able to add a new vet. It's the vet that's already in your database. And then if they have a barcode or like a microchip number or so forth, they can. So once I save this, this pet will be added to this client card. They can start to make appointments immediately. And in your desktop case in Live Access, this pet will now show where you can start to use that card. So that's a nice time save for you too. But the big part of the client portal, of course, is the online reservation system. So this is for boarding, daycare, and grooming. You can allow one or not the other if you wanted to. Now when your clients start to sign up for the portal, if they're an existing client, what it does is it matches the name that they sign up with either the phone number or the email address. If it does not find a match, the best option is to have them call you, because they're probably just not putting in the right information. Now on all these screens that you see this information in brackets, what that means is that information is preloaded or loaded for you onto the message. So this is going to pull the business number in your business info setup. So you don't have to add that. So anything in brackets loads that information for you. Now for new clients, people who've never been there before, if you're too busy that you just can't take new clients at this time, you can turn it off. So if they go to sign up, it just lets them know that you're not taking new clients at this time. But if you do turn it on, you can require that you approve the addition first, which means that no one can just come in and sign themselves up as a client. You have to see them first and you decide if they're approved or not. On sign up, you can require that they have to add an emergency contact. And then down here is the information of what do they see when they actually go into their portal. So the documents tab and the pictures, that's something that you could turn off if that's something that you need to do. Now as the clients start to sign up, this is Manage Client screen is where you go in and see who signed up for the client portal. So down here you can click on this person and see what email they signed up with. Maybe they forgot, and that's something that you can tell them. For whatever reason, if you need to stop their access to the client portal and the online reservations, you can turn it off if you need to. Also, if for whatever reason they're having an issue, maybe they signed up with the wrong info and they want to do a new email address or whatever happened, you can delete the account and let them sign up again. That does not delete the client card in the database itself. It just deletes the login so they can sign back up again. So a big question is, how do you let people know that you have an online reservation system or the client portal where they can go in and see all that information? So one thing you can do some kind of, you can do a mass email to give them the link for the portal. You can also add a button to your website to let them know that, hey, we have a new portal or reservation system. Click here to sign up. We're going to include our knowledge base link that explains how to do a button to your website. It's very simple to do. Now up here is where you can generate a link just for a specific person. So maybe Gregory here is having an issue signing up and he just cannot figure out how to get there. So you can generate a link for just one person and send an email. So what's great about this is before it sends, it actually shows you the email that it's going to send. And what it does is it gives them the link right to where he has to go to get signed up. But if you have a client that's really struggling to sign up, usually they're not entering the right information. So in addition to sending the link to them, you can put what name are they supposed to sign up with, what email address, and what phone number, because that's what it's trying to match to. So it just gives you a, instead of maybe telling them on the phone and hoping they remember, you can actually type it out for them before you send the email. Alright, so the OLR page that you see, you're able to design this whole thing however you want. One option is you can link it back to your external page, whatever that may be. Another way is you design in here how you want it to look. So we have some clip art that you can use, but you can upload anything that you'd like to in here. Of course, your business logo is also where you would upload through here. Then we have some messages. So this is a great place to give them important information maybe you want to know. So maybe it's just a basic, hey, we can't wait to see your pet, give us a call or whatnot. But some clients do like to put important information here. So vaccination status, maybe you would put what kind of vaccines you require or what your cancellation policy is. Maybe just something you'd like them to know off the bat, right in the front page. You're also able to do these links. So this is an example of maybe you have a contract you need them to fill out. You would include that on your website, and then you can include the link here, and you could do several of those. You also have a coupon code, if that's something, or a promo code, sorry, if you'd like to do that. And you also are able to do a welcome text once they log in. Now, as you guys are going through and you're setting up your portal, your page, all the options, we have this preview changes at the top right, this button, and basically it takes you to an example of what it's going to look like for your clients. So it's a great way to kind of see what your clients will see, and you can adjust as you need to. So the OLR settings, this is the nitty-gritty of how you set this up. What kind of hours do you have? What services do you want them to choose? And things of that nature. So you're able to set these up independently of each other. So boarding, grooming, and daycare all have their own tab. And you can turn one on and maybe not the others if you want to. So we're going to do boarding to start off. So boarding, a big thing about online reservations is people get worried about overbooking. But you can require approval, and what that means is your client is able to go online and request an appointment, and they submit it, but it's not added to the database until an employee goes in and approves it. So you don't have to worry about overbooking. You have the ultimate say, and it gets you the traffic and requests from your clients so that you don't have any free space. You'll be able to be full every day. This is the option if you want them to be able to cancel an appointment through their portal. You have to turn it on. And then you can decide what kind of, how far in advance can they start to do cancellations. You are able to limit how far in advance they can book, maybe 3 months as your cutoff. If you don't put anything in here, it defaults to a year. Now for pickup and drop-off times, that is not required for boarding or daycare. If you decide to do times here, this is the same time every day that you're open, they would get. But there's a different place where you could do times for different times for each day, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Now down here at the bottom, or down here, is where whenever they're going through and they're making their appointment, you can require that they have to choose something on these screens. So for example, feeding, of course, the pet always has to be fed when he's there. So you can require that before they get past the feeding screen, they have to choose something on there. If you don't check these boxes, then it means the system will show you all the feedings, but they can continue through that screen without choosing anything. Down here is where you can turn off if you don't need them to choose a time. You could just turn that off. Now the way that this works with runs is you can turn on these two options. So OLR will try to put them in the last run that they were in. If that's occupied, it will try to put them in the last run size that they were in. And if that's full, it goes into pending, because now you have to choose a run. Usually people who have this set to require approval actually turn off the run selection, because at the last time the pet was there, he was in a strange run that maybe he's not always in. Maybe it was a small dog who had to go into a large run. Instead of taking up that large run that you could use for somebody else, they turn it off so that the staff is forced to choose a run. It's just so if it loads a run in, if you're not paying attention, you may be booking in the inappropriate size. So that's something you could turn off. Now, as your appointments are either, if it's automatically where you don't require approval or you have to click approve or deny, if you approve it, you're able to let it use the desktop confirmation emails. I personally like that because that is the only one that will include the vaccine status, which of course is very important. But you could turn it off altogether. Usually daycare doesn't send emails because they come so often you don't need all that email. And lastly, you could set up an email specific to Live Access, basically, or the online reservation system. So again, if you notice all this information that's in brackets, that means the system is going to load in the client name. It'll load in what module this is for, the pet name. So it's not something you have to worry about figuring out how to get in there. But you could definitely edit this message if you need to. At the bottom here is the denial email. So when you have to deny an email, or sorry, an appointment, it'll give you the option to send a denial email or not. So you can opt out of it if you want to. However, what's nice about this is if you decide to send the email, this will show on the screen before you send it, which will allow you to add maybe an extra message or edit it. So maybe someone signed up for tomorrow to come for grooming, but you don't have any time, but you can add a note on here to say, hey, we can't take you today, but we could take you next Tuesday. It's just a way to get your clients extra information. So for business hours, this is where you tell it what days of the week are you open. So for boarding, like if I were to turn off Saturday and Sunday, that means that they could not choose Saturday or Sunday as a drop-off or pickup day. But they can make an appointment that falls over that, like maybe a Friday to a Monday, they would be able to book. This is also the screen that we were talking about earlier, that you could do different arrival or departure times based on the day of the week. So they don't have to be the same. Usually Saturday and Sunday are a little bit different, so that's something that you could do. Customized pages is a really cool feature. This is how you can get extra information over to your clients. You can rename how some of this stuff looks and so forth. So notice this is the first screen that your clients see when they click that they're making an appointment. It's the first thing that pops up. So most people who use a notice put very important information they need their clients to know. Vaccination status is pretty popular that I see, maybe your summer hours or cancellation policy. You'll also notice you have this option to make them check a box that they acknowledge that they see it, that they read it and accept it. It's a nice way so that they can't say you didn't tell me. They would not be able to continue with the appointment if they didn't check the box if you required that they agree to it. We also have this little palette here where you can decide what color this text is. So it's nice. You can make it red, which is very visual in your face, or it defaults to black. So you can definitely do that here. If we go on down, for example, departure services. So instead of it saying departure services, I have it called spa services. So that's something that you could do. And then I have my own special message in here. And don't forget it's going to load the pet name in there for me, so I don't have to do that. Departure services, you're also able to tell it what days of the week that's available. So that doesn't have to be something that's available 7 days a week if you don't need it to be. So feedings, it basically says check your feedings or select your feedings, but you can add an additional message. This is the message I added about how it's supposed to be portioned out. This selection here means that they have to tell you how often do they want to get it. Do they want it every day, every other day, the first day of the appointment? This may not be as important for feedings, but it's also an option for exercises, so maybe that might be something that you would want to turn on. And of course you can turn off if you don't want them to add any additional notes. If they did add a note for feeding, it would show as part of the feeding itself, so you're not going to lose it, but some people don't want that, so you definitely can turn it off. Now products, you are able to let them choose products when they're making their appointment. Maybe you sell bandanas or dog food or whatever it may be. Right now the online reservation system does not let you choose the run size. That's something that we're working on. So I'm going to show you a workaround if that's something you'd like to do, and it's set up through the product page. So that's why I have a note in here about choose the type of run that you want. Of course, exercise, basically the same thing as feeding. Services would be anything that's an other service in your setup. So the common ones I see are maybe anal gland expression or teeth brushing, things of that nature you can set up through here. If you offer pickup and delivery, this is where you can do your messaging and which service do you offer, both of them. Now for vaccinations, there's a couple ways to set this up. The first way is how I have it set up here, where basically it tells them you have these missing or expired vaccinations, and they have to click a box to acknowledge they see it before they can move on. But we have this message here. It just basically reminds them of what kind of vaccines are required for this business. But you can also require that they upload a copy of the vaccine to you, record. So for example, if I do required, I can have them put in the expiration date for me. That's something that you want to do. And or you can require that they upload a document to you, their vaccine record. Now the thing about uploading documents is, even though it's very simple, they just click a button and go to their file and upload. Some users will not be able to, they will get stuck. They won't be able to figure it out. So if they get stuck and you require this, they would not be able to complete the appointment. They would not be able to use the OLR system. So I suggest that you don't require it, you make it optional. And then a staff member basically can work with them at that point. But you can require it if you need to. So the contract, you're able to do a contract that comes from your desktop kennel connection. Or you can do a special contract in here where you just type in the terms that you want it to see. You have also options to do opt-in terms. So this is an example of an opt-in term, and they basically can accept it or decline it. And you can do up to 5. And then this is the mandatory term. So this means they have to click a box that they agree to it. So this is an additional place to put some important information you need them to know. So a lot of people I talk to, they do vaccination stuff in several places. The notice and the mandatory terms maybe as a question, just so, because it's so important and you need them to know, you put it in several places. That's definitely something you could do. And in my stuff I have maybe about medical issues and things of that nature. Then at the bottom here, this is just information that displays once they submit the appointment, just to basically give them some extra information you need them to know. You're able to ask questions. You can ask 6 questions the first time they make an appointment, and 6 questions every time they make an appointment. So we can't promise what they're going to say in there makes sense, but if you turn it on and you require it, they have to put something in there. So it's just a nice way to get extra info that you don't have to take time on the phone to do. The clients can do it right through the appointment. So this is our document tab. This is where they can upload a document to you, so you can add a note about what they're supposed to use this for. And of course you can turn on 2 links. You can require it, but don't forget, if they get stuck, they would not be able to complete the appointment, so maybe you just leave it as optional. Now if you process credit cards with our Tenerum system, you're able to set up OLR deposits. So for OLR deposits, you turn it on. For boarding, you're able to do just one rate. So I'm going to stay for 10 days. I only owe you $50 for the deposit. Or you can charge them something every night they're going to stay. So if I did 10 days and my rate is $50, they would owe me $500 for the deposit. At the bottom here, you're also able to do per pet or per appointment. So if I'm booking 2 pets and I do per pet, it will charge me twice. So if it's $50 a day, I would be charged $100 a day for 2 pets. Or if you do per appointment, it's just the one time. It's also nice, you can put a message in here that displays, so most people put in their cancellation policy about if the deposit's going to be forfeited, what constitutes that. And then lastly, if the credit card fails, you have an option to go to pending, or you can reject the appointment. Now if you guys have a require approval turned on, whenever the client makes the appointment, the last screen they see after they submit is the credit card screen. And they have to do their credit card, and then they hit OK. And that's saved against your pending appointment list. So in that case, the credit card is not actually charged until you approve the appointment. The approval is what triggers it to charge the card. But if you have a live edition, meaning you do not require approval, this is a nice feature because you can decide if it fails when they try to charge it, it can go to pending so that your staff member can help them. Or you could reject the appointment altogether if you want to, and maybe have them call you or whatnot. These next tabs, these are really cool because this is all the options that they can choose when they're making their appointment. And you can really talk it up and make it sound fancy. And I know myself as a pet owner, I choose everything for my pet because I want them to be happy when I'm not there. So this is an example of a feeding tab. Now the way this works is this LinkedIn item has to be tied back to something that's in your database. So for example, these are the feedings that are in my database, so I have to choose something here. So what I mean by that, if we go back to desktop kennel connection, this is in your list setup, and it's under the feeding tab. So whatever I choose in OLR, it has to come from here because this is how the invoicing part works. So yeah, if you don't have something, you could quickly add it in here, and then you'll be able to use it over in live access or online reservations. But what's nice about it is the LinkedIn item is how it works, but your client doesn't see this column. They see the title, which can be anything you want, and they see the description, which can be anything you want. So this allows you to really talk it up or explain what it does and things of that nature. Now, if you guys take cats and dogs, let's say, you can default what pet type this is. So if I do, it's supposed to be dog. If a person is trying to book a cat, the dog stuff doesn't show, and vice versa. And if you leave it blank, it shows for all pet types. You're able to do a rate here. That's not required that you have to show it. You would just turn it off. You also see we have this morning, afternoon, and evening option here. This is so that if you have something that you only give in the afternoon, let's say you do an afternoon hike, you can default it so that's the only time that it can be chosen for. And otherwise you would do morning, afternoon, evening, and your clients can choose what do they want to do. The quantity would be, it'll ask like, are you supposed to give a half a cup or whatever, and otherwise you can turn it off. Then you also have these options to sort what order do they see this in. So that's, you can put the important stuff at the top. Exercises are very similar. Don't forget the exercise has to be in your list in desktop KC first. And then you can put any title and any description that you'd like. And it's the same setup as your exercises are. So products, we were talking earlier, this is a great workaround if you want them to choose what size run they want until we can add this feature in here. So in order for this to work, you have to go into your desktop KC and you have to add it as an inventory item because that's where it's coming from. So for example, I came in here and added a luxury suite, and that's really all you have to do. You don't want to put any kind of price because you're not pricing it at this level. But once it's added here, you're able to come in. That's the LinkedIn item. They don't see that. They see the title and the description. So for my examples, I just included what does it look, or what does it constitute, what is a luxury run versus an extra large suite, and I put the price in here. You don't want to put any rate in here though, because the price for this is coming from the actual boarding line, not here. Now just note, if you do set it up this way, there is going to be a line item on the invoice called luxury suite, but it will be $0, and that's how it's supposed to be. So we don't have to show a price. You don't want to put a price anywhere, but you can put a price in the actual description so they can see what it's all about. Extra services we were talking about, those are just the other services that you have in your database, so that's back over here in lists. And this is other services list. So anything you want to put in here, that lets you add it as an online reservation option. So as you guys are going through and you're deciding what you want to do, don't forget you can click the preview changes at the top right, and this takes you to an example of what the client's going to see when they log in and try to make an appointment. So you're able to adjust as you need to, maybe sort it a different way or whatnot. When you're ready, before you turn it on, this is the screen that you go in and you decide what are they going to see as they make the appointment. So I'm going to turn on the notice because that's something that we have. I don't allow for pickup and delivery, so I'm going to turn that off. And then over here on the right is how you decide what order do they see this. So for example, if you want to do your contract first, that's the most important thing. You can move that all the way to the top. And once you decide what order, just be sure you save it at the top right. Now for daycare, it's very similar to boarding. The only real difference is you have to tell it what your maximum number of dogs are. So you put your maximum number of dogs. If you also take cats for daycare, you have to be sure you put a total for each one. And then when the OLR system is requesting a daycare appointment. It's looking at your schedule to see if you already have 40 pets booked. If you do, it'll tell them that you're full. And then down here is where you can add any kind of message you want them to see. So grooming has a couple of other options. So we're going to look at the services first. Now, grooming services are used for departure services and if it's just a regular grooming appointment. And what's nice about this is you can add any combination of services. So it doesn't have to be just a bath. It doesn't have to be just a groom. So we're going to look at this luxury spa service. So all the way on the right here is how I edit it, this little pencil. So the first thing you do is you go in and you decide what do you want to call it, and then you're going to put a description. So the description is nice. You can say what is involved in a luxury spa. Do you get a bath and a groom and you get the nails trimmed and so forth? As far as pricing, most grooming service shops do not want to put a price because you haven't seen the pet yet. So some places put prices to be determined at check-in. You could put price starts at $25 or price range, or you can ignore that altogether. So if you do want to show the price, you have to turn it on. Duration. You can add a default duration here, but if you do not use it, it uses whatever your desktop currently uses. Down here for the modules, this is where you decide what modules is available for. So for example, this luxury spa services, I would not want to do that for daycare because I would not have time on a daycare appointment. But I could do it as a departure service or a grooming. At the bottom here is where you decide what's going to be checked on the appointment when this is made in the database. So this example, this is our luxury service, so they get everything. So I want it to be sure to check the bath and the groom and the nails and the other, because that's also how it's going to invoice. So it has a line item for each one. Now if you have a luxury spa service and it's really only a groom, that's all you want to charge, that's something that you could do. You just tell it what you want it to check when it makes the appointment. For the rates, you can have it use whatever your desktop already uses, so you don't have to put any kind of rate here. You could add an additional, maybe this is something that because it's OLR you need to do some kind of additional rate. You can also do a custom rate. So if this is a service that every time it's $15 no matter what, that's something that you could go ahead and put in if you wanted to. Then at the bottom here is if you want to link this back to your desktop, to the other services, you could do that. You would click and decide what kind of services it's going to be tied back to. And that's how the rate on this would also work. So I have this luxury service, and then I have something just called a groom. Whoops. And I have a combination service, which is the nails and the anal glands. And it's unlimited. You can put as many things as you'd like to. The other thing about grooming is you have to tell it what hours are you available. So this is under business hours. What's nice about this is you don't have to do a time like 8 to 5. You can actually choose what times specifically that you have available for grooming. So this is an example of the times I have: 9, 10, 11, 12:30, 1:30, and 2:30. And that's the only time that OLR is going to consider. You can also decide what days of the week are you open. So mine has me closed Sunday and Monday. Back on this general tab, this is where you tell it how many appointments at those times can you take. For example, if I said I was going to take 5 baths at 8 o'clock, then I have to come down and tell it how many appointments for each am I going to take at 5 o'clock or at 8 o'clock. So for example, at 8 o'clock, all I can take is 5 appointments total. Of those 5 appointments, all 5 of them could be a bath. Of those 5 appointments, only 2 could be a groom. So if I have 2 grooms, that means I have 3 appointments left, and all 3 could be a bath if I want. Or 2 could be a bath, and 1 could be a nail, for example. So the maximum concurrent is how many total appointments you can take at that time. And down here is the combination of how many of each do you want to kind of make up for that 5. So this is how you turn everything on. I also want to show you this general tab. So as your clients are signing up for portal, their client portal, you can format the phone number. So if they forget to do it, it automatically formats it for you. The other tab here is the notifications that you can do. So for example, if you're not in live access all day, it will ding at you to let you know that a new appointment just came in. But if you're not in here all day, you can have it send you an email notification, and you can send to multiple email addresses if you'd like. So if you require approval, you only need to do it for pending appointments. But if you don't require approval, you also want to turn this one on because it would be just new stuff added. Also, if they upload a document or cancel an appointment, you can. When new clients or existing clients sign up, you can. Now down here at the bottom is the welcome email when a new client is added to the database. So don't forget this stuff in brackets will preload. So if Jennifer signed up, it would preload Dear Jennifer in there. You can also do a hyperlink here. And this little question mark just explains how that works. So a hyperlink is nice. Like if you have some kind of packet they have to fill out to become a new client, you can put that on your website and then link it to the welcome email. So they just click a button to download it. So now you're ready for the clients to actually use this. So this is my client portal. Don't forget this is a screen that I designed and you can do anything you want to. So when you're ready to make an appointment, you would come here to your client portal. Once you log in, you would click on Make Appointment. And then you choose which module you want. I'm going to choose boarding for now. So this is all the tabs that you see at the top. So don't forget you can turn these off if you don't want them to have to do the contract. That's something that you could do. And this is that notice that we were talking about. And you'll note the red color, so it's kind of in their face, obvious. Now at this point, if I click Next, I wouldn't be able to continue because I have it turned on that they have to accept it. So they have to click this box to go through. Here they list all of their pets, so they can choose whichever pet they want. So I'm just going to choose a date. Maybe I want to come sometime in September, let's say. Times or whatever those times you have set up. And don't forget you can turn this off if times aren't important. You don't need it. So my contract is the first thing because it's super important. So it's the first thing that I have. This is the opt-in options that I have, so I can either accept or decline it. I'm going to accept it, and then down here is those mandatory terms that I have to click all these boxes or I could not continue. Now something to note about the contract is for right now, the only information that you see in the portal is you can see if they accepted or declined this opt-in term. For the mandatory terms, it's understood that they could not continue with the appointment without accepting it. But it doesn't save that information anywhere. So if it's important for your business that you have a signed contract saying that they agreed to all this, you want to print it out when they get there and have them sign it. However, we're working on a feature that it will, they can do an e-sign and it will save the entire contract with all the agreements. But that's not here yet. So you definitely want to have them sign if that's something that's important for your business. So this is an example of our departure services. Notice how it says spa services because that's what I named it in that customized pages. So you'll see how it's worded. It kind of gets the client excited about what they can do for their pet. So I'm going to choose luxury for my pet here. So this is for Jumper, the first pet, and then for Gambler, he just needs a bath. So we're just going to do that. You'll notice the rates. So there is no rate except for the snails and anal glands, which 47 seems like a lot. You don't have to show the price. You'll see here how it has the rate starts at 25. That would be common that we see. So now we're coming into the feedings and it lists both pets. So I think I have feedings required. Nope, I sure don't. So if you do have feedings required, they would not be able to get past this screen without choosing something. So I'm going to choose, this is where how they choose how often they're supposed to get it. This part you can turn off. If you don't want them to have to choose every day or every other day, you can turn this off. You can also turn off this notes part. Now if I add a note here, it's going to be saved on the feeding, so you don't have to look for it later. It's all included. And maybe I'll get two things. I'm going to get him an ice cream and some dry food. This is an example of the run stuff that we were talking about, where you can, if that's something that you want them to be able to choose, this is a workaround for now. So we'll choose this. This is my exercises. So I'm going to choose a couple things. Now if you'll note how cuddle time has this morning, afternoon, and evening, and hiking does not. Hiking doesn't because when we set it up, we put this that it's available only for the afternoon. So that defaults in there for you. You don't have to, they don't have to choose it. It's already set up that way. So these are the extra services, the other services that we have. So maybe they need to get their teeth brushed while they're there. This is an example of the question, so don't forget we can't promise what they're going to add, but they have to add something or they can't get past this screen. Here's the information, the vaccination. So this pet doesn't have any vaccines on his record, so it's just listing everything that's missing. They have to click this box to get past it. For my pet gambler, he actually does have vaccines, but some of them are expired, so it's just letting them know what's going on. Now, this is the optional part where I have the document. On this previous screen, if you were to require that they upload, it would be on this screen, and they have to do it before they can get past here. Otherwise, you would turn on it kind of as optional. So they click here and it goes to their computer files and they choose a document. But if they get stuck, then they can continue if you don't have this required. And then as they submit the appointment, this is the last screen that they see before they submit. It basically summarizes everything that they signed up for. So if they say, you know what, I forgot to do this feeding, they can go back previous and choose the feeding. So it lists both pets and what they're getting. Then I'm going to submit it. So because I have OLR deposits turned on, this is the screen that they see after they submit, because now I have to give credit card info. So for this client, she already has credit cards on file, so she can just click to use the one that she wants. You can also put in another card if you wanted to. At the bottom here, it's just telling them what is going to be due. So for my deposits, I turned on that I only want one $50 fee. But it would total up if you charged every day or whatnot. Then I'm going to pay. Now, I don't know if you heard it ding, but that's the live access part letting you know that a reservation just came in. So it also pops up on the screen for you, so you don't have to hunt it up, or there's a notice here. And then for your client, it just basically lets them know, hey, you've submitted an appointment. This is all the extra information that you can add. So this is your custom message that you can do. And they can take it back to the home page. So back on their home page, they can see that appointment went to pending, which was for September. So gambler and all that. Now for you guys, the way that you see this appointment, this is in the pending appointment list on the left here. So this is the appointment that just came in. So don't forget those contract. We can see that they accepted the insurance fee. And then it lists what they signed up for. It shows the questions. This is going to be saved on the appointment screen. And his questions down here. So when I approve it, that's when it does the credit card. So for me, for my database, I need runs. And I don't want to use the runs, so I go in and edit it. This will allow you to change the dates if you need to, or do something with their vaccinations, anything you'd like to do in here. Here at the top right is where the runs are for individual pets. So you can switch between. Jumper doesn't have a run, so I'm going to put him in a run. This already has some pop-ups to let you know about rate stuff, so you just have to put yes or no depending on what you want to do. Now when you're talking about a multiple pet appointment for boarding, on the left is where you would sign the run if they're going to share a run. So you can either do on the left together, or over here on the right you switch between them and do their runs. So everything's good. I'm going to submit the appointment, save it. And at this point, this is when it's charging the credit card. So it successfully went through. You'll see it has some messages about the deposit was successful, and this pet is now on our schedule. Now for the deposit, that is now added to your database. You don't have to do anything extra to get it to show up. So if you want to check under accounting and receipts, we'll see that Barbara left us a $50 deposit for today. So this will be on your closeout report. It's a credit on the account that she can use to pay an invoice when ready. These are the rest of my appointments. Unless it's boarding for the run issue, there's not a right run. The rest of the stuff you could just approve if you wanted to without editing it. If you need to deny an appointment, that's the denial email we were talking about. So don't forget it pops up on the screen and you can add an additional message in here. You could deny it without sending an email if that's something you'd like to do. The other tab here on the list is for your pending clients. So let's say you turn on new clients and you require approval. So when they go and they submit their appointment, it's listed in here, and a staff member would have to come in and approve or deny it as needed. Then we have this appointment history. This is a cool feature because it goes back, you can see kind of the history of what's been added. So maybe I want to go back and see how many appointments Zach has left for me. So I can search just for Zach, and it goes through and it sees all the appointments that he's signed up for. I can click on it and see some details in here. Like daycare is pretty simple. They didn't really choose anything, but boarding, they had a lot of information. This is a pending appointment. It hasn't been approved yet. Things of that nature. You can see if some appointments fail, there'll be some reasons here. This appointment was denied. So you can kind of look and see what's going on with your modules. So this is pretty much everything for the client portal, the online reservation part. The next thing we're going to go over is SMS texting. So SMS texting, this is a two-way texting feature that you can use, that you're able to text your clients and they can answer, and you can see all that information in the live access. This is truly unlimited, so there's no message cap, there's no charge per message and things like that. So we're going to go to our demo site. And this down here on the left, it's under messaging. So the first thing we do is we work with a company called Axion, and they create a text message number for you. They use your whatever area code your businesses use. They use that. And then whenever you send them text to your client, you can say something like, "This is Jen's Pet Place. I'm sending you a message." So that's something that you could do. You can restrict what employees have access to reading your messages or responding to clients if that's something you have a need for. So when you set this up, you're able to do an automatic reply. So if they send you a text at 3 in the morning, let's say, you're able to set up this message outside your business hours. So for this, we're closed from 7 to this time. And you can put in a message. So don't forget these brackets will load your business, so you don't have to do that, your business name. But basically it lets them know, hey, we're not here right now. We'll be back in touch once we open. And then down here is the automatic text. So once these are turned on, they go automatically. You don't have to do them every day or click a box to send. So for example, we have confirmations. So confirmations are as soon as you make the appointment, that's what triggers the text to go. This is our message in here, but you can come in and add extra information if you need to. Confirmations have an optional yes, no, reply, confirm. So if the client replies back yes, it will automatically confirm the appointment. If they reply back no, you can turn on the automatic part, which will cancel the appointment. And you can also send an additional email, or text, if they reply back no. So if you turn this on, this is automatic, so you don't have to do anything. If the client says yes, Kennel Connection confirms the appointment. If they say no, it will cancel it if you turn that on. We also have a thank you text. So a thank you text is sent as soon as you check the pet out. That's what triggers it to go. Then for grooming, we have a completed text. This is nice because if you mark the groom as complete, it will send a text to the client to let them know, hey, your pet's ready, it's time to come pick them up. And this is also automatic. We also have these automatic reminders, which are really nice. So if you, reminders are sent a few days before the appointment. So let's say I make an appointment today for something in September. The confirmation will go as soon as I make that appointment today. But the reminder goes a few days before I'm supposed to come in September. So it's a nice way to remind folks. And this is automatic. So once you turn it on, you don't have to think about it. So you turn it on, you have to tell it how many days in advance of the appointment do you want it to send, and then what time of day do you want it to send. This also has that same optional yes, no, confirm, or reply back, so it'll either confirm or cancel the appointment. So reminders, you don't have to be at the store. If you're not there for a whole week, it still triggers to send because it's coming from our side. So it's a really cool feature. It's not something you really have to think about. So once you turn on all your options, don't forget these are set up per module. So maybe you want to do this for boarding and grooming, but you don't need to use this for daycare. Then we have this inbox here. And the inbox is where all your messages are. So for example, we have a message here for Randolph. So this is an example of a confirmation on the right here. So don't forget all the stuff, Ron's pet boarding, the grooming, the dates, that all preloads, so you don't have to do anything about that. This also has the optional yes, no turned on. But you can send an individual message here if you wanted to say, hey, Ralph, Randolph, you could type something in and send a message. What's really cool about this feature is, of course, you can email pictures and emojis. So pictures are pretty nice for grooming shops. Maybe you want to send a picture once they're done being groomed, or you're out in the yard with the dogs. Your staff members can be sending pictures to the clients, which of course they really love. So that's something that you could do. And here, as you're going through your messages, you'll see how some of these have a little blue dot in front of them and some don't. So that's for handled or needs review, which is at the top here. So if you have a lot of messages when you come in, or you're scrolling through your messages, it will mark them as handled. But let's say you have something that you need to follow up on. You can mark it as needs review, which puts that little blue dot in front of it. And it's just so that another staff member or you don't forget to go back later and take care of it. So that's something you can do. Now this is your inbox. So this is your master list. You can also go through the client card and send them a text that way. So let's take, we'll take Andy here. So on the card for Andy, we're going to go all the way on the top right is the SMS tab or button that you click on. And this brings up so that you can send an individual message to that person. So this is the way you would do maybe if you want to send a text to the client about their pet. Send a picture we were talking about. Example like that. Now what it does when it's trying to figure out what number to send to, is it's always going to look for any number in your database called cell and see if there's a number associated with that. That's what it'll use. If it can't find a number called cell, it's going to use the first number on the record. Down here is where you can do, maybe this person has a neighbor that always comes and picks up the dog and you want to send the text to them instead. That's something that you could set up if you wanted to. So the other nice thing is if you're on the schedule, of course you can go right through the client card to get to the SMS that way too. So you don't have to search for the client. If you have, maybe you want to let all your boarding folks for tomorrow know something. Maybe you have a late check-in that day or something. You could come in here and just quickly go to the little dots, view client, and then do the SMS right through there. So that's a nice little shortcut. Alright, so SMS is an add-on service. So you would contact us at our sales department to get signed up if that's something you'd like to use. And that kind of concludes everything for Live Access, the client portal, the online reservations, and SMS. So if you have questions about any of this stuff, you can always contact us. If you have not signed up for it yet, you can contact us at sales@kennelconnection.com or give us a call at 888-486-4343, option 1. If you already have this set up or you signed up for it but you're not sure how to set it up or you have questions, please contact us at support@kennelconnection.com, or you can give us a call at 888-486-4343, and that's option 2.